When I was 29 years old, my husband and I conceived a child, our son Ben. I weighed 115 pounds. Ben, when he was born, was close to 12. Yeah, people said, do you remember this, Mom? People said, doesn't look like a newborn. He looks like you're holding a 1-month child already. And I tell you what, I felt huge and packed full from about month 4 onwards. There was just not enough space in my formerly 115-pound frame for a baby, or so I felt. In church history, God is called the uncontainable, right? Because God is God. We can't contain him. But yet Mary, in our gospel lesson for today, was told by the angel Gabriel that she would contain God. She would be the container for God for 9 months. And so thus was born a long history of icons that are just really weird, like the one on the screen on the TV back there. You see Jesus' head up about here. And man, like he takes up most of her torso and we only see him from the waist up. But there's this sense that she has this huge thing contained within her, and her body just needs to find the way to make space for Jesus. Any woman who has been pregnant might be able to relate to this feeling of having to make space where there just isn't enough. And of course, that doesn't stop with the birth, does it? Fathers can relate to this too. When our son was born, we had an old 2-bedroom apartment in the city of Chicago. The smallest bedroom was our bedroom. The larger bedroom was our office because Brad was a graduate student and I was a high school teacher. So we needed serious room in which to work, not to mention that computers at the time took up like half an apartment. When Ben was born, he got the smaller bedroom and we moved into our office and suddenly had a bed and dressers and computers and desk space and bookshelves all in the same space, and you could barely move. I'd get out of bed and there would be like one path from my bed to the hallway. We had to make space for him. And we have spent the last 21 years making space for both of our children, physically, emotionally, psychologically, professionally. And sometimes the ways in which we were asked to make space, we were not prepared for. You think when you figure out where your newborn is going to sleep that you've done the hard work. And then one day you have to find space for something that you never prepared for. Mary must have felt a lot like that, because nothing about the conception and the life she was to live was normal. And you know, I know as a Catholic growing up, a Roman Catholic, I was always taught about Mary, meek and mild. who the angel of the Lord came to her and said this outrageous thing, and she just said, "Yes, Lord, whatever you want." But there are some clues in our gospel reading for today that maybe it wasn't quite that simple for her. We see words like perplexed. Mary was perplexed. She had to ponder some things. She says to the angel, "How can this be?" She's perplexed. She ponders. She asks, "How can this be?" As though she's saying, "Whoa, I don't understand what you're saying to me. How do I make the space, not only in my body, but in my backwater life, for what you are proposing? How does one raise the Son of God? How does one raise the Messiah?" Today is one of those weird, it's not even every regular years, but every once in a while, where we celebrate Advent 4 in the morning and then Christmas Eve in the evening, and we miss a whole week of Advent. And there was a part of me that wanted to say, "Man, God, just give me some more time. I need some more space. This is all escalating a little quickly." And I know Altar Guild has felt that way. My question for you on this shortened Advent 4 is this: how has God and is God calling you to make space for Him? Not only today, on this shortened week of Advent 4, and not only for Christmas, but for the rest of our lives. How is God calling you to make space for Him? And I'm going to warn you, it may not be comfortable. If you had seen me in month 9 of my pregnancy with Ben, I can tell you that it was never comfortable. And there have been some mighty uncomfortable parenting moments for us, haven't there, Brad? One of which was just yesterday. What God is calling you to do, how God is calling you to make space, might not be comfortable, may not be convenient, and may take you completely by surprise, may leave you perplexed, may leave you saying, "Lord, how can this be?" I'm remembering when I first started to discern my call to the priesthood. Often I would look up and say, "Seriously, Lord, me? You know who I am, don't you? Seriously? Are you sure about this, me?" And I have to admit, I said that again just the other day. "Seriously, Lord? Me?" He does. We plan, God laughs. That's part of that surprise. What God calls you to do, what God calls you to make space for, might leave you perplexed, might leave you pondering what it might mean, might make you say, "Lord, how can this be?" Or in modern day language, Lord, what the heck? But this is what God calls us to. From Mary to me to you, to the prophets, to the patriarchs and matriarchs of the church, to this diocese and this parish, and you as an individual. Take a look at that picture again. In what ways might you be called to give birth to Christ in this world that so desperately needs him? In what ways are you called to make space? We have a very short time before Christmas Eve Mass, but the question is not time sensitive. Be pondering that in your heart as we approach Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And from there, Epiphany. Amen.